DeFazio, and thanks to all those on the panel and also the panelists earlier as well. Happy to be here and work on this issue that I know we've been talking a lot about the last couple of years, and I'm sure this joke has already been made today, but hope we finally get Infrastructure Week. I know that's something that's incredibly important in my state of Iowa in particular, given that we've got the most structurally deficient bridges in the entire country. And I know Chairman DeFazio mentioned earlier that I sat on the Transportation Committee in the State House for 3 years, and I know worked a lot on these issues and understand not only the need for investment in infrastructure, but specifically the fact that we also have a workforce issue. And Mr. Willis, I'd like to address this question to you, given your work obviously on this topic. Right now, specifically in Iowa, we need a lot of truck drivers and building trades workers, and I'm concerned about the workforce shortages and making sure we have enough quality apprenticeships and training programs in place to meet future workforce needs, not to mention the big retirements we're seeing today as well. Mr. Willis, given the work you've been doing representing transportation workers at the AFL-CIO, can you tell me how important workforce development is when thinking about infrastructure, from trucking to construction to water, and what you'd like to see on a federal level for investment in this area, and what's working now that we could expand, and what would you like to see?
Well, thank you. So obviously, workforce is a huge component of this. The building trades are well known for the tremendous apprenticeship programs that they provide and opportunities for workers that, quite frankly, wouldn't exist but for the programs that they have, and they can come in and talk to you in more detail about that. I will say, at a transit level, I think that's a part that often gets missed. There are significant training needs on the bus and rail side, both mechanics, an operator, elevator, escalator. There's a lot that goes into these systems that I think gets lost. And to your point, there is opportunities. And this was included in the FAST Act. Money for frontline training for apprenticeship programs on transit. I think, quite frankly, those should be expanded, and we are part of a specific labor management program that we're very proud of. Again, both management and labor at the table, figuring out these training programs and how to get them implemented. So I think looking for funding opportunities in the context, whether it's an infrastructure bill or reauthorization, is definitely something that needs to be done.
Thank you. And I'd like to open this question up, too, to anyone else on the panel who'd like to answer. How are your industries working to attract and retain the transportation workforce of tomorrow? And how can the federal government be a partner in those efforts?
Congressman, I'd be glad to, from the trucking industry viewpoint, one of the challenges we're worried about is the retiring workforce, as well as the need for drivers continues to grow. Not known by many people is that the operator of a tractor trailer, Class 8 vehicle, within states can get that license at about 18 years of age.
Yep.
To cross state lines, you're going to have to be 21 years of age. And we lose quite a heck of a population in there. Now, we're not encouraging that it's completely open to 18-year-olds without some rigorous testing. What we'd like to see is, and we've worked with legislators that have looked at or they're putting together some proposals of how we can pull together some really qualified trainers with 2 or 3 years of experience under their belt with the impeccable safety records, and they can begin to mentor the employees that work for us at that young age to get them into the seats and to fill the jobs that we do have. The other thing that we're encouraged about is the technology that's coming to the cab is attracting folks more so than just shifting the gears and getting on down the road. Our objective is to look for folks entering our workforce as they're coming out of high school, before they get into a first trade or a second trade, and then they turn to the trucking industry.
Great, thank you.
And Congresswoman, I can echo that from the ports industry. I can speak to the Northwest, where our ports, our towboat companies, our other folks who care very much about a working waterfront and protecting that. They are getting out to the high schools to let folks know, to let these young people know that we have family wage jobs that are there waiting for them. And it's largely an unseen industry at times. You don't drive on it, you don't see it sometimes, but the ports are there. And so we're working hard to get to the high schools.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. And I yield back my time.
Thank you.